BLM. If you thought I was talking about Black Lives Matter, you are mistaken. You're mistaken. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Bureau of Land Management, right? It's record keeping where you can go check to see who were some of the first owners of land. You can even go check, see your family names. Now, the land patent is important because the land patent lets you know who had first essentially access to that land. Now, these particular things were created in multiple different fashions and ways. One of the ways that we understand it is that, of course, through what they call the conquest, right, of discovery, you had the Pope. The Pope came over here, and way he had it set up, and I'm gonna break it down simply. And my brother Marlon, he go into some deeper conversation. He go come in there, and he say that wherever his religion is, essentially, right, because he believed that the Native Americans, and we'll get into who those really are. You know, I'm actually going to go visit the Shinnecock Nation. They invited me to come out there and speak to them. You know, they have one of the largest melanated tribes of our people, right? Treaties with the government to this day. You understand me? Certain tax exempt statuses, right? It's very important that, you know, we make friendships of all walks of life and we understand who we truly are, because most of us don't know our story. We only know his story. So you got this conquest, a discovery, meaning that if they come there with their religion, right, and they don't recognize the religion of the Native Americans, then they particularly essentially saying that they own that land, that they discovered this land. They brought God to that land, religion to that land, civilization to that land, and that this is now under the Pope's rule, right? So what the Pope do? The Pope say, okay, you know, this is saying that the Pope owns the world. The Pope did things in statutes that they call the Papal Bull. And I'm going to relate this back to William the Conqueror, because it went from conquering, and then conquering was outlawed to say that you can't just come to a land, take it over, and it's yours. Then they created the discovery. So it went from the conquest of conquering to the conquest of discovery. He understood that he can start controlling things by a pen. He make decrees, and it's his. He owns it. He creates entities, right? So William the Conqueror, what did he do? He had a judgment. He had a piece of paper that put everything under his control, right? And the Europeans learned from that. They said, wait a minute, that was a code system that he created over there. The way you set that up, you put everything under you. Now, who ever heard of William de Heartburn? See, that's what you got to understand, that, you know, this Caucasian ain't that clever. So when one person does it, he sticks to it for a long time. He's not really trying to recreate no will. So they call it demesne, or domain. It was all land retained and managed by the lord of the manor under the feudal system for his own use, occupation, or support. This is what distinguished the land sub-in-oft by him to others as sub-tenants. So he created the modern tenant system. And he had the House of Normandy, which was founded when? 911. The first ruler was Henry I of England. Now, the question becomes is this: what the hell does George Washington got to do with all this? Well, George Washington, his family name would have been William de Heartburn, except George Washington family came under, right, the Norman estate. So when this family moved on to the Norman estate, you have to take on the last name of the estate, which means that you now become property of the estate, right? So what was the goal of creating such a system? It was so that he can create an institution so that he can rule over time, because he wanted to create something that his family can have that rule, so the European ideology ruled over time without the physical might and presence. So William de Heartburn ended up becoming a war general, war captain, decorated soldier. You know what I'm saying? Going hard. So he coming under that estate. That means he coming under that ideology too. What happened? They understood the power of the paperwork. Okay. So now we getting Magna Cartas, Declaration of Independence, Constitution. Are they keeping us under paperwork? We wasn't there. We didn't sign the Constitution and say, yeah, I agree to that, George. No, it was white families that signed that to say this is how we're going to be able to make our power last over time.